Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. Good morning to some people here. I can see Ron all the way from Bogota, um, and a few other people joining from different time zones. Good afternoon. My name is Toby Williams, and this afternoon, right, we have a very special guest, Victor, who is going to be joining us today to enlighten us a little bit more about various nuances between Power BI and Tableau. So yes, it's going to be, I wouldn't say a Tableau versus Power BI battle, but you're going to understand or go on a journey on customer financial dashboard, which will be used as a case study in both business intelligence tools. And I can verify that Victor is actually in the house, right? He's joined us. Hi, Victor. Can you say hi to our audience?
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon once again. Nice to see everybody. Toby, so good to see you.
So good to see you, brother.
Yeah, so looking forward to this discussion. I mean, for me, left to me, I want it to be as interactive as possible. I don't mind you asking me questions and just trying to clarify one or two things as regards, what we are going to be discussing. So it's like Toby mentioned, it's not like a showdown, so to say. It's just to just weigh the pros and cons to see exactly how useful they can be, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, and then it is up to you, who is the user, to actually make a decision on what tool you want to adopt for your BI needs. Basically, that's it.
Correct. So yeah, um, within a short while, we're going to begin, and what we're going to cover will be, as Victor has mentioned, it's going to be very interactive. But we're basically going to go through, know a little bit about Victor, and then we're going to begin with Victor, and I'm going to pass it over to Victor. So I met Victor a couple of years ago when we both worked uh, at a startup, right? We're in the same workspace essentially. So it was inevitable that we have interaction and go over each other's works, offer reviews, feedback where we could improve. I saw it as a very engaging, very growth inclined environment, right? Once you have somebody that can give you honest feedback about what you can do to improve stuff, then I think you're getting a way to reiterate your product and build better tools. And that's exactly what I saw while I was working with Victor. So Victor is very keen, right, on making information beautiful. He believes that the first sense is to make sense of numbers. The first thing is to make sense of numbers. And then the next step is to create visually compelling stories. So I believe you're going to see an interplay of UI and UX considered in all these dashboards that are going to be used as a case study. And he's also very skilled in Excel, Power Query, Power BI, Tableau, SPSS, R. I know he studied statistics, right? And it was always good seeing how you carefully measure and understand data before even providing summaries. An average is not always an average if you think about it. Things like that. Very considerate about data that is being published and shared. So yes, that's the brief about Victor. I'm going to pass it over to him. And Victor, you can share your screen whenever. I'll pass it over to you now. Hi, Victor, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was on mute. Okay.
Awesome. Okay.
So let me just go ahead and share screen. But you have to enable me to share screen actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
I can see it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So just before we get started, I think Toby has given just the perfect summary. But just to just to manage your expectations a bit, I really did not invest a lot in the UI UX part I was talking about. I just wanted to like show, just the same data set on two BI tools and exactly how you can work around with it. So I focused, my emphasis was actually more on what you can do on this one that you cannot do on the other, or how you can play around with your visualization, and all of that, and what limits you in whichever BI platform you're working with. So that was actually what I focused more on. Maybe some other time in the future, maybe then we could do some cool UI UX stuff and show some bit of skill. Right. Okay. So all right. So moving
That's
on.
awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on. First of all, I just felt it's important to just have like an industry overview of what's in the market, right? We talk about Power BI and Tableau a lot, but probably a lot of people do not know that there are actually other tools that have been adopted by other data analysts and business intelligence persons. All right, so it's not just Tableau and Power BI; there are also other tools in the market, and there's always this constant debate on which is superior or which is inferior, which is the best and all of that. It's very similar to software, programmers or tech guys when they start arguing, oh, what is the best programming language? Some people will say it's Python, some people will say, oh, it's R, and all of that's petty stuff.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah. So, but the goal is at the end of the day, these tools are there for you to weigh the pros and cons. They are there for you to check out, where they are strong and when they are weak, and then for you to make a decision. That's the primary purpose. Every other thing is really secondary and it doesn't really matter. Okay, so recently this is like a rough market overview of the popular BI tools that are currently being used. So what this chart is simply showing is it's a Gartner quadrant, right? Gartner is more like a business organization that they do surveys of how BI people have they actually use this kind of tools, and then they sort of get their feedback. They also measure customer satisfaction from companies that actually employ these tools in their day-to-day running of their businesses. And so they collect all of this feedback and they sort of do like just an inferential statistics to see exactly how these different BI tools, how they rank, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at my screen here, there are four quadrants basically. There are challengers, there are leaders, there are niche players, and there are visionaries, right? As you can see, most of the BI tools fall within the niche players, right? Very few of them fall within the leaders, right? So the tools that fall within the leadership quadrants just show you exactly what are the most preferred BI tools in the market, right? So for you coming new into data analysis or business intelligence, this can help you to decide on what is the most popular, right? Usually when something is very popular, then it means that you have a lot of resources to learn from it, right? But if something is like a new entrant within the space, within the industry, then you might need to invest more in actually getting to know it, right? Because it's a new tool. right? You might not have access to developer community and all of that stuff, so it might be a bit challenging, right? So this quadrant is just to compare 2019 versus 2020, right? The one on the left was the ranking as as far back as January 2019, and the one that's the one on the left. Then the one on the right is February 2020, right? And
Okay.
what you can see basically is the leaders have not changed. Tableau and Power BI, they were the leaders in 2019, and the same trend continues in 2020, right? But
Okay.
if you look at the other Power BI applications, you see some bits of changes, right? Looker and TIBCO moved from visionary and niche player in 2019
Hmm.
to, sorry, in 2019 to challengers in 2020. I remember, was it 2 years ago or was it last year? I had an opportunity to just interview at one of the fastest growing startups in Africa. It was actually Andela. And one of the pain points of my interview was their primary language was Looker. And Looker was heavily dependent on SQL, right? But I didn't know how to, I wasn't familiar with Looker. I was Power BI. And for that, we couldn't go forward with the interview. That was at 2019, I believe. So February 2019. Now, now that this particular BI tool has moved to Challenger, it will be interesting to see what's going to happen going forward, right? I mean, I'm also familiar with typical software, but I really don't know anybody using it. But from what I can see, it's also going into Challenger. So in the coming years, next year we'll see exactly how the adoption of this Power BI tools, how they actually pan out over the next year. Then we have a new entrant, which is Alibaba Cloud. Um, Jack Ma is unrelenting in his pursuit of competing with Western companies, Western organizations, and Alibaba Cloud has also joined the race for Power BI analytics. So that's also very interesting to see. All right. So now taking a look at the market leaders, that's Power BI and Tableau. All right. Like I said, this is not a showdown, so to say. It's more like what people most use, what they prefer, how useful which of these tools, how useful they are, what are their pros, what are their cons. And so this chart is just showing the percentage of questions that were submitted on Stack Overflow. For information, Stack Overflow is more like a community for software developers where you can find answers to whatever code you're looking for. You can find help to, if you're stuck on your code, you can basically go on Stack Overflow and someone has actually, most likely faced what you're facing and, submitted an answer for you. Right. So this is just to show, the percentage of questions that were submitted every month from 2009 till 2019. Now, Power BI came into the market in 2013. I think Tableau has been around since 2007, if I remember correctly, right? But you can see what is interesting here is in recent times, 2017 especially, the number of questions that were submitted on Stack Overflow like dramatically just went above and beyond, right? And I believe the trend will still continue to go like this because more people are getting onboarded within the Power BI community, using more of Power BI and all of that, right? So this is just very interesting for you to see, the engagement levels of these two between people that use each of these two platforms. All right. So still moving on, just to highlight some key differences in Power BI and Tableau. Power BI primarily, if you're familiar with Power BI, primarily uses DAX. For me, I feel this is very easy if you're already familiar with Excel, with Power Queries in Excel. It can be, for me, learning Power BI was very easy because I had already, mastered to a large extent Power Queries in Excel. And so onboarding myself onto Power BI was actually very straightforward and very easy compared to MDX, which, to be honest, I'm not so familiar with in Tableau. As regards data volume, I think this is like one of the biggest issues with Power BI. There are some levels of of data that you're connected to, and then if you might notice some discomfort when when you're actually working with the data set, because sometimes the software begins to lag compared to Tableau. Tableau is very efficient. In fact, it was built for handling large volume of data sets. Also, as regards cloud storage as well, again, when you're feeding your data, when you're feeding your Power BI desktop, when you're feeding it directly from cloud storage, it could be really difficult to actually load all that data. I remember, if you remember, Toby, when you used to connect directly to what's MongoDB, and the thing was sometimes it loaded. I remember when Zenab came back then. Sometimes it took like hours to actually load, from that particular data source, right? So I mean, even me personally using it, I don't know why that is. I don't know if it is improved now, but this was something like I know a lot of people struggle with. But Tableau is actually very flexible. It's connecting to cloud storage is, it uses it efficiently. You don't notice that much of a problem. And also, okay. Yeah, so there's a mistake. Okay, so visualization, I think I actually switched it. So Power BI actually offers numerous data points for visualization. So what I mean by this is, on Power BI Marketplace, you have a variety of options on how you can visualize your data, right? Now there's a recent development where some of those applications on the Power BI and Marketplace, some of them are paid. So that might actually increase the cost, from now on. But overall, you get a wider variety of, visuals to use. And I believe also that now there's also the emergence of Power BI developers who actually, just create visuals, engaging visuals, B2B visuals that you can see. Whereas on Tableau is only limited to 24 different types of visualizations. I don't know why it has stayed the same that way. So if you're somebody who likes to play around, somebody like me who actually likes to play around with different visuals before I finally settle down on something I find engaging, for me, I have a natural bias towards Power BI because I get the opportunity to be flexible. All right. Then ease of use, as I said, Power BI is, if you're familiar with Excel, it's really straightforward, to be honest. Like you can onboard yourself on Power BI. It doesn't You don't need to be a genius to know how to use Power BI. Tableau is also easy as well, right? It's very easy when you get the hang on it. Getting started might be a bit challenging. The interface might be a bit, I wouldn't say difficult, but it's not as straightforward as Power BI compared to Power BI, right? When you compare both of them, Power BI is actually relatively easy to learn compared to Tableau.
Is this
Again,
especially true because you started with Power BI first for
yes,
Tableau?
yes. So maybe that is true for me. For on a general case, I did some small research while preparing this presentation, obviously. And on a general case, that was the general consensus, right? Tableau is more of the if you're a data analyst, if you are, how do I say this? If you just visualize data, if you just want to, if you're very good at data analysis, drag and drop, creating cloud bubble chart and all of that, then maybe Tableau might not be so difficult for you because you have a lot of options. You can nest visualizations within visualizations. It takes a whole lot of data analysis skills to be able to find Tableau easy when you're new to it compared to Power BI. In Power BI, you really don't need to be much of a data because Power BI is actually drag and drop. You have your data set, just drag, and that's it. Tableau is not that straightforward. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. So again, so the previous slide was just talking about key differences. Now we are going into the pros and cons proper. The pros, training in Power BI is quite cheap. I mean, from people that conduct trainings, this is from like a general market survey. Training is cheap. It's very fast and easy to create visualizations. They have good customer support. Combining shape and clean data for analysis, it can actually handle a large amount of data efficiently and all of that. If you check Power BI has a lot of pros, right? First of all, you have pre-built dashboards and reports for SES solutions. You also have the monthly updates that you receive every month. If the software has been updated, if they've added a new feature, you get monthly updates if you're subscribed. So this is just to keep community engagement flowing and very effective. And in fact, personally, I actually look forward to all of these updates every month, because for me, it's like an opportunity to actually learn new stuff from Power BI. Then yeah, I would say also, I think one where Power BI truly stands out is, they have a sort of is the ML AI feature where you have this beautiful Q&A feature on Power BI where you can actually ask Power BI questions about your data set, and it tries to actually answer those questions, right? Do you have that kind of feature that it gives you a feel of AI, and I feel like with time, if they keep at it, if Microsoft is able to keep at it with time, it's going to become very powerful. I don't see that in Tableau, even with the numerous versions that they create. With the recent versions, I don't see that feature yet in Tableau. So that might be very interesting if you're into machine learning and artificial intelligence, just to see exactly how you can engage with your data set without plotting a chart, without creating a visual. You can just ask your data set questions, and it tries to answer it for you. Right. So then the cons. Tableau, for a start, is quite expensive. In fact, most companies that adopt Tableau as their primary BI tool, most of them are big. They're relatively big sized companies, right? Because their enterprise packages, I can't remember the cost of fund, but compared to BI, it's quite expensive. Importing custom visualization is a bit technical, because, like I said, you have a limited amount of visual options you can work with in Tableau 24. Now, to import a custom visual, you might need to get a bit technical, right? So that might also be a con. I've mentioned this before. Tableau is suitable only for a large organization which can pay for licensing costs, and it doesn't support AI or machine learning over the time. Power BI on the other hand can actually enable you to share dashboard and reports with users that have the same email domain. So maybe you are within a company, and you guys have the same email domain, you can actually share that. Then Power BI can't also accept file size larger than 1 gig, right? So this is one of the big issues I was talking about as regards working with a large data set. Is once data begins to get large, it begins to struggle, right? So compared to Tableau, which is very efficient, if you're a company that rely on fast delivery, real-time delivery, you are very concerned with efficiency. If you're a kind of company, a kind of person that works with very large data sets, this might be very important for you to consider. If you work on a normal day with small data sets, just day-to-day stuff, then Power BI can manage that. But once you start dealing with gazillions of data sets, then you need to weigh options very carefully. All right, so that's it with the overall market, just some market realities as regards these BI tools. I think I can go to the dashboard itself proper. Toby, is that okay?
Okay, awesome.
Okay, so before I go, I don't know if anybody has any questions. And before I go on to the next part, just any questions or suggestions or comments.
Any questions or suggestions or comments?
Okay, I'm seeing some comments in the chat. Okay, someone is saying Microsoft platforms are usually user-friendly. Platforms are usually user-friendly, yes, but PBU has a steep learning curve. Ron, what do you mean by PBU?
Let me. So you're trying to get what does PBU mean in that that question. I think Power BI has
Oh, okay. PBI, okay.
okay.
All right. Okay, so I guess there are no questions. If there are no questions, I'll probably just go on to the next. All right. Sorry, I'm not sharing my video. Maybe when I'm done with the presentation, then I'll share my video so everybody can see my face.
So Tosin is asking that he said Tableau has 24 visuals. Are you referring to the default visuals in the
Yes.
show me menu?
Yes.
Right.
Again, let me just state categorically, like for me, I have a very huge bias towards Power BI. So maybe there are people that that for Tableau and they're like, oh, why like you are so biased, your bias is so thick. What's your problem? What's your problem? Let me just state that categorically. So like I said, it's not really a showdown, so to say. It's more like weighing the pros and cons as a user or as an organization, which one is best for you in terms of efficiency, in terms of the flexibility, in terms of the options of the visualization that you can do, right? It's not a showdown per se. There's nothing wrong if you learn how to use the tool, really. I mean, kudos to you. Okay, so Shegun is saying, how do I access more visuals on PBI? Yeah, so on Power BI, if you open the application, your desktop application on Power BI, you can, from Marketplace. Thank you, Francis. Okay, that's it. So, and I believe with more updates, the Marketplace is always going to keep evolving, keep populating with more apps that you can use and just play around with. Personally, I like to. Once I start working on the data set personally, I never know what kind of chart I'm going to use. Right, I play around with all charts possible until I find one that really strikes me. That's how
Is that in Power BI or in Tableau or generally?
Generally.
Yeah.
So I like it when I don't mind scrolling through endless list of apps. I don't mind downloading like 50 extra apps on my, just so that I can just be able to have this kind of options and just play around and and do what I want. Okay, so Joel is asking which platform would be better for a freelancer to use in terms of number of companies adopting the different platforms. Is there a preference? Yeah, so I don't know if you missed the presentation, if you were around when I just showed more like that's Gartner quadrant. So let me just show that again to just answer this question. So like I said, so this Gartner quadrant just shows exactly what the situation is as regards business intelligence tools within the market, right? So the market leaders consistently have been Tableau and Power BI, but most people tend to actually shift towards Power BI compared to Tableau, right? So I would say Power BI is, according to this, it's the leading platform. According to this, not according to me. So I think that is very unbiased enough.
Yeah.
All right, so I think I can go on to the next one. Okay.
So Sam is saying Power BI desktop is free. Yes, until you need to share your reports.
Yes. Meanwhile, Tableau, I don't unless you currently, if you're somebody who works for Tableau here, please don't report me. I have a cracked version of Tableau. And I think anybody that uses Tableau has a cracked version of Tableau. It's not free really you have to, it has to be licensed basically. So I mean, as a freelancer, if you're getting started into business intelligence, then you may want to consider this as well.
So like there's this Tableau public that is meant to only allow you publish your reports online. There's no way you can save it except it's saved online or something like that.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said, Just give me a sec. Um, just give me a sec.
I have a question to ask at the end of the presentation. I think it will involve, yeah, I mean, coming from someone who used Power BI, like, would you advise like me to learn Power BI, Tableau?
To learn Tableau.
Yeah. Like,
I'm
should
actually
someone focus or should someone have like
diversify
a
your
mix?
portfolio. Well,
Yeah.
I feel like this question is more like asking, if you're what's it called? If, it depends on the industry, really. I think this is why you need to just keep up with the trends within the industry, right? You can't, this is just talking in terms of relevance and, you know, just, how much you can, how much how do I frame this correctly? Just basically understanding what the trend is and how much you can align yourself with that trend. Now, it doesn't mean following the bandwagon. It doesn't mean hard mentality, but there's this thing about the corporate world where there's, especially in software, in BI, in data analytics, it's very easy to be outdated, right? Very few tools have survived the never-ending updates. Tools like Excel will forever be relevant, right? Apart from Excel, I don't know if any other tool since for the past 20 years has remained consistent. So it really depends on the trend. If I mean, from this Gartner chart, if in the next 5 years Tableau ups their game, if you have more visuals, remember what I said about Tableau being able to handle, a large amount of data set, being
Okay.
efficient enough to handle those things. If they up that game and increase their developer community to sort of I don't know, have more visuals, have more options, and all of that. If they're able to do that, then I see that becoming like the next big thing. I'm saying if that happens, then if that happens, it makes sense to actually then invest some time to learn Tableau. So it really
Okay.
depends on the trend. It really depends on what is going on and what people are saying and all of that. Okay, so let me just go back and share my screen again.
All right. So David thinks Power BI will still grow more. He thinks Power BI will still be useful. And with the Power Platform as a whole, Power BI won't be left alone like before.
Well,
Very valid.
yeah, well, I mean, you just need to check what is going on. It's not because you like Power BI. Don't 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 decide based on feelings. I'm telling you, right? For
Yeah.
me, for me as a person, I was very used to R for a very long time, and I never saw the need to learn Python. But that was like one of the biggest blunders I've ever made, right? Because Python is very versatile. It's widely used. It has a lot of, there are a lot of people using Python, so there's that community that can help, to learn and all of that. So you just need to understand what is going on and be flexible, right? Learning should never stop. Anyway, okay, so this dashboard, like I said, it's a this same dashboard was designed in Power BI and also Tableau. And like I said, I did not place much emphasis on the UI UX. I just wanted to like do something simple to be able
Okay.
to
Okay.
see what is possible using the same data set, right? So using the same data set on Tableau, using the same data set on Power BI, how do they look? Right? So
This still looks great.
it,
Simple,
yeah, straight to the
straightforward.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. So this is just showing a personal financial dashboard. This is just to show exactly how an individual has spent his money over the past 2 years, right? So this is what you have overall. So over the past 2 years, this person has earned $100,000, right? And has saved, spent $100,000. I spent $24,000 on necessities. So necessities like food, you know, I don't know what the makeup, stuff like that. Your daily needs that you cannot do without. Then amenities, spent roughly $11,000 on amenities, and I've saved roughly 9,600. I feel the person has probably invested some other money, right? So this pie chart here, spending amount is just showing exactly, how the person spends his money on what is he spending his money on, like breakdown now, right? Spending, you can see from here, in the past 2 years, he's actually spent his money mostly on food, right? Followed by house rents, then followed by travel. I guess that's commute to work. Then you see other things. Now, here, this is this particular um visual here is I think that's a gauge. So that's just telling you, like, okay, if you put a cap on how much I'm supposed to spend every month, right? If I put a cap on it, right, and I can measure exactly how much I'm actually spending compared to the cap that I put on it. So the cap here is, I think, if I remember when I did that formula, it was 60% of earnings, right? So my daily cap on spending is 60% of my earnings. Once I spend more than 60% of my earnings, then I'm not going to be happy with myself, right? So, right. So here is 40. No, it wasn't 60%, it was 40%. Point of correction, 40%. So 40% of total earning 100K, 40% of that is 40,000, 40K, obviously. Now spent total of 37.51, just so I know I'm
Very
beginning.
close.
I'm very close, but I'm within my spending limit, so I'm fine. Now, if I come on this filter here, 2019, just to see what happened in the previous year, it was still close. Spent less than 14K, which is very reasonable. In 2020 is not yet finished, so this is until July. Roughly
That's
24. Yeah,
already
so
very close.
very, very close. So I mean, just to show that I'm spending, I'm doing pretty well. I'm careful enough to to know to know what spend,
Yeah.
stuff like that. By the way, this is not for me. This is just from a data set I just picked up from somewhere. So don't think I have this much money. Anyway.
No, why not? Nobody, I'm sure nobody here is thinking like that, right? Or,
Anyway.
I'm coming to your side after this show.
No problem. All right. So on this one here, so this is just showing, this is just breaking down the spending amount by payments type, like, right? Credit card payments, transfer payments, debit card, cash, and Octopus. Octopus is, I guess, like an online payment tool or something. So this is just a breakdown. You can see most of the money, most of expenses was through credit card, then transfer, then debit card, and then here you just see the trend. Basically, you see the trend of earnings, spendings, and total savings. So just pretty straightforward. Now, on top of this, you can add a variety of other things. You could see, I think in the data set as well, there's like a column for investments and stuff like that. You could just view exactly how much you're doing, how much you're investing your money, and all of that. Now, I actually thought of doing something personal, right? So maybe that can be a project that somebody wants to pick up and just try. You could download, if you're into internet banking, you could just log onto your profile on the internet, on your bank, and download the income statement for, say, the past 1 year, the past 2 years, and you could sort of break it down and do like something similar, you know, just as a personal project, just to see. The problem with that is it might get a bit difficult if you try to automate it, because every month you just have to keep going back and downloading and appending and all of that. So if you're into automation, that might not you might not really like that, because every time you need to download after the month is over, then append to the previous month, right?
This data set keeps updating online, and it's available for free.
This one,
Yeah.
no, but I can share with you after. I can share with everybody, including the presentation, and sure, I can share with everybody.
Awesome.
So this is, you can see this one. This 2020 is until July. Yeah, so it's not like automatic refreshing. This ended in July. So, but I'm just saying, like, if you were to be something personal, then I could create a folder where I download all my monthly income statement, and then with every new month I just keep appending it to that, so that when I refresh it, all the calculations remain the same, and then I can get the updated version for
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Then also as a side comment, because like I said, I've tried to do it on my own personal income statement, and one of my biggest headaches was classifying what expenses was for what. Because when you download your what's it called, yeah, when you download your financial statements from your bank,
Yeah.
it's very muddled up, right? So you cannot clean it manually, because for the subsequent months you also need to do the same thing, which is not efficient enough. So, I mean, that could just be for somebody that is listening. That could be a very interesting project to just see how you can automatically classify what expenses is for what, right? Just to see exactly how interesting that can be. Okay, so I
Yeah.
guess this is it for Power BI. I think it's pretty simple, pretty to the point. I think it took me roughly 45 minutes doing this. For Tableau, it was a bit more complicated because I wasn't so familiar with it. Okay, so let me just go over to the same data set but with a different visualization in Tableau. So
Nice.
here,
Oh, this is beautiful.
so this is, first of all, you might say it looks beautiful, but first of all, I find it boring. I see a lot of other visualizations in Tableau that are very nice, and I tried to sort of duplicate that, but I wasn't getting it. So I just did something simple, and not I decided not to stress myself. So it's the same thing here, right? You see your earnings in USD, amenities, necessities, savings. You see the breakdown, the spending distribution by type. On Power BI, it was a donut chart. Here it's a I can't remember the name of this chart. Anyway, so you can see it's just the same information. You can see food representing 24%,
Trimmer.
tree map, yeah. Rent 22%, travel 15%. You can just see this breakdown. And then the transaction type, an amount spent. You can see here most transaction was carried out by credit card, followed by
Okay.
cash, followed by octopus and transfer. Now this is a cumulative of 3 years. And again, this is also something I find a bit tricky. The filters in Tableau, especially the date filters, is not very user friendly. I don't find it straightforward. I find it a bit annoying to work with, because there's a lot of it's not straightforward. I have to click a lot of
I see.
buttons just to be able to look for the number of days. It should be much more simpler than this, right? So this is just my personal opinion. Yeah, well, for some other people, they might feel, oh well, I can have different options like previous year, last year, this year, next year to date. Well, personally, I find it a bit cumbersome, really. Okay, so so this is a very cool feature that I really like. I don't know if I can do this in Power BI. So here you see where you see enter salary percentage for savings, right? So I can actually change this percentage, right? I can just be flexible with this slides. I should just see, okay, what is my cap, right? If I do a 40% cap on my savings, or where does that fall? If I do like a an 80% cap on my savings, well, so I can see I mean, I can see that, based on that, I can just be able to see exactly how I'm spending and what I'm earning and to see if I'm within range or not. And here, this is just a simple
Yeah.
table. This is just a simple table, just giving a breakdown of where most of the money is spent. If I actually want to see the transactions, the transfers, what I spent on, this is more like a comprehensive list of what I can do, right? So, so basically, I don't know what your preference is. Personally, I prefer what I did on Power BI because I just felt it was just very, simple. It was very straight to the point.
Yeah.
This is also straight to the point anyway, but I just felt, first of all, the dates, or maybe I'm not doing this well. Maybe I'm not setting the filter. Maybe that's why I have these numerous options. For me, I don't like the fact that I have to like understand why I'm selecting, what I'm doing, selecting a number of dates and all of that. I don't like that. But every other thing, I think it's probably almost the same. But for some reason, I just prefer what I have on Power BI because I feel it's more beautiful. Again, maybe that's just the way I design. Maybe just the way I designed it. Maybe my bias is showing very well here. But personally, so I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Toby, what do you think first of all?
Well, I like the UI, right, on this Tableau dashboard.
Mm,
It just sort of makes it easier to just appreciate the visuals. But then, like on with regards to the date slicer, I think it can be so much better. If there's an option for making it simpler, there could have been one. But if there's no other slicer, then this might just be a bit difficult to work around, right?
mm,
I mean, you have many slicers that are available like this in Power BI as well. You want to choose, last X days or last X months or last X years. You have that option to change that in the slicer. But what if you just want to filter between just choose a particular year, 2019, 2020?
mm. Yeah,
Yeah. I also think that bar that you have there, that enter salary percentage
that
for
percentage.
savings,
Yeah.
I think it's also possible, right, in Power BI to have maybe a parameter,
Mm,
right, that you can, it's essentially like a slider. And
mm,
that parameter it can be something that generates a series whenever you change it.
mm,
So it can be, if you change it to 35 or something, it will generate a column of 35, something like that.
mm,
And then you can, but
mm.
it's not, I don't think it's as straightforward as
It's
as what
this.
you're showing here. Yeah,
Mm,
that's another thing.
mm.
I think also the you saw that when you uh, glide over that tree map in Tableau, there's a nice snippet that comes out of this.
Yes, that trend line
Yes, you have this also like possible in Power
in Power
BI,
BI.
but it's also not straightforward, right? Because you have to go and do some tooltip adjustments,
Yeah.
right? Turn an entire report into a tooltip,
Mm,
right? To make this work.
mm.
But in Tableau, how was it? Was it just a very simple option to do? Right? This tooltip, for instance.
Yeah, no, it wasn't straightforward as well. You have to do a bit of adjustment as well to be able to let it show. Yeah, it's not straightforward as well, but it's relatively easy, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah, to come up with this. I think I should just also state here that one of the biggest issues with Power BI, working with Power BI for me was it's actually formatting. It's difficult to on Tableau. I found it was a lot easier to be flexible around formatting for some very weird reason. Power BI was
interesting.
Power BI is actually quiet. It's if you're used to it, then maybe it's not a problem, right? But it's to get a very good hang on the Power BI on the formatting in Power BI, the coloring, choosing colors.
Yeah.
It can be a bit frustrating actually.
Yeah.
On Tableau, it's much easier on Tableau. So as regards UI UX on that, I think I'll give Tableau, like the upper hand on that.
Okay. Okay. It can slow one down. Yeah. So Zainab here is corroborating what you said.
Zainab is on the call.
Not our Zainab.
Oh, okay.
This. Yeah, I'm not sure it's ours. Does anybody like this? This was very beautiful to see, right? And in my because I really like the visuals in Tableau, right? The way they come up as reports that you can just scroll down to view. So in my oh shit, in my uh, in my spare time, I'll try to in Power BI. There's a way you can modify the page size, right? Instead of the default page size, you can modify it to look like a portrait view. Default Power BI, and I'm trying to see if I can find the report. The default Power BI view is landscape, but then you can convert it into like a portrait view and try to make it look like a nice report, like a portrait view where people zoom in and then they can be scrolling down. So that's some like a small confession there. Me trying to create Power BI reports, like how Tableau reports, all those visuals. But yeah, um, I'm getting a question here. How can you copy the visuals from Power BI to Word or Excel without taking screenshots? Hey, wait.
Well, I know you can export to PDF. You can export the report to PDF, and then, well, you said
in the cloud, right? From the service, you can also download as PowerPoint.
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you must have Power BI service.
Yeah. Okay, checking it right now. But I go to export. Yeah. You can actually export to PowerPoint, to Excel or PDF.
PowerPoint, Excel, or PDF. Okay.
Yeah.
Send via Teams also. What do you mean? Microsoft Teams also.
Oh well, I wasn't aware of this. Oh, okay. I see the option there.
Oh yes. There's a new Power BI option there.
Yeah, okay.
So in Tableau, right, if you share a report, like this is one thing I've noticed in an interface, right, in Power BI, right, people go onto Power BI reports and export data to Excel, right, to do maybe further analysis when it's been shared to the service. For instance, if you have a table, right, in your Power BI report and it's online, people can just go right click the ellipsis, go to export to Excel or export data.
Yeah.
Do you have that option in Tableau, or do people look at back-end data?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. To be honest, I've not tried it, but I don't think so. I mean, most times when I see people share visualizations, this makeover Monday hashtag that people use. So sometimes I go through all of those visualizations and I just try to see what's going on. I can't export. I can just export that particular visual to a PDF, to a PowerPoint. I can't export the values directly.
Right.
Yeah. So
There's also a comment here from Ron. He read in a Facebook user group the following comment by Munaza Nain, and she wrote, Tableau equals creativity. With it, I can hack whatever it is that I want to create. The opportunities are limitless. Do you agree?
Well, that person knows how to use Tableau well. So I guess that's me. I don't know if Tableau really offers, if it's when it comes to color formatting, to using images and backgrounds, I think I've seen a couple of visualizations where I was really impressed. Like I was really impressed with what I saw. And I just kept wondering if I could do the same thing in Power BI. So I really don't know. I still depends. I still think it depends on who is doing what. You could see somebody who is very good at Power BI can do like mad stuff. So creativity is really about the person. I don't even know what I mean. I think it's more about the person than the tool,
So
right? Yeah, it's more about the person than the tool. If you see two people that are very creative, then maybe the two can make the difference. If you
but in
see
a
two
way,
people
right, it feels like there are more creative people
using
using
Tableau,
Tableau
yes,
than
very
than
true,
there are, right,
very true.
in Power BI.
A
Or
lot,
maybe it's the population size. Maybe there are just too many Power BI users compared to Tableau users. I don't know.
I mean, just to buttress what you said, I have seen a lot of very impressive creative stuff on Tableau compared to Power BI.
Yeah.
I mean, just observing the trend. I've seen some vision. I'm like, how is this possible? How did somebody come up with this? Right. Whereas when most of the visuals I see on Power BI is very simple, the
Yeah.
visual Power BI format. Like when I even see, I know this is Power BI. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But I've also seen like a few people do exceptional stuff. There's one guy the guy is Dutch. The guy does crazy stuff on Power BI. He's a UI UX designer, but
Yeah.
it's really impressive. I can give you his link, and then maybe you can one of these days, maybe you can bring him and just let him take us through his work process. The guy is really like he does
That
really
would be nice.
stuff.
In
Really
Power
cool stuff.
BI.
Power BI, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It depends on the person, so to say, because I mean there are some things I can probably do on Power BI that would really impress someone. The person will be like, "Oh, you did that in Power BI. I never knew that could work."
Yeah.
So
I know in Power BI, if you can use, say, D3, right? The JS, the visualization library, data-driven
I've
documents,
never used it.
you can use it to create like some custom visuals for Power BI.
Really?
And yeah, and it really extends what you can do. You also get people that design, I think, uh, custom tools and stuff for Power BI that use the language called TypeScript, right? It's this PowerShell language, right, for coding in Microsoft. Um, so yeah, you can create and extend. Like I've even seen some job opportunities that are like Power BI developers, right? So you have Power BI visualization developers. You also have Power BI like tools developers. So maybe like a custom visual or a custom connector or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, they are. I think they. Have you seen all those sort of like visuals where it's maybe like a floor plan or something, and you can,
Yes.
there's
Yes.
some
Those crazy
really,
stuff. Some
yeah,
crazy stuff. Yeah.
yeah. I've seen some custom Power BI visuals, but it takes a lot of development effort.
Mm.
I don't know if
So,
that's the same thing that goes into Tableau.
so I think about it just takes that level of curiosity to just want to. It really doesn't matter the tool. I mean, because at the end of the day, there are people that do crazy stuff on Power BI, there are people that do crazy stuff on Tableau, right? I mean, the emphasis is on how crazy you want to be, right? You can be crazy on Tableau, you can be crazy on Power BI, you can be crazy on both. It really depends on you. So you can just play around with what you want and
Yeah,
see which one you get the better hang on. I think that's the best approach to this. Don't
yeah,
just. I mean, people might be very cool with creating math on Tableau, but you don't. For you, you're just in love with Power BI and you love doing math stuff. People like Toby, you know, who are just
yeah.
crazy on Power BI. So
Uh, I heard last time we spoke, you said that you are doing all this big man stuff now, just creating, managing a team, creating. What were you saying? I wasn't hearing what you were saying. You are just, you are creating processes about how to manage. Okay.
well, it was, how can I say it? It wasn't more of what I was doing. Do you understand? It was more of their expectations, basically. It was more of marketing sides, you know. I wasn't even working with the data directly. There was a team that was in charge of, the data, and if I needed like a data extractor, I had to reach out to them.
Mm-hmm.
You understand, to extract this data set for me. Then from what I get, I'll now create like a presentation. The best I was doing, the best I could do was presentation. And to be honest, I don't really enjoy it. Do you understand? I mean, I like presentation, but even the presentation you're doing has to conform to a particular format. And that, for me, that's like that's like the biggest killer of creativity, when you have to tell me to stick to a format, or it has to be this way, or yes. And when I try to change stuff, you're like, oh, people don't understand. People don't understand. They're just wasting your time. You're spending too much time. Do you understand? So
yeah.
Yeah. So it was more of get the job done, do it the way we've been doing it. Just be innovative, but don't stress yourself too much. Do you understand? Yeah. So
those are a no for me, really. I like my mentality is jackpot from environments like that. Anytime there's not an avenue for creativity to flourish. But yes, I mean, I think we've come to the end of this, right? This has been awesome, right? You've been very, very open and transparent about your experience, and also being very diplomatic in your replies to some questions, which was very nice. I mean, we're talking about the two industry leaders in business intelligence tools here. So yes, this was very awesome, right, Victor? I don't know if anybody has any questions, right, to ask before we go. But yes, we've come to the close of the session today.
Yeah, so Sam is asking for the Dutch guy's name. So what I'll do is, after this session, I will send the resources I use, the data sets, the link to the visuals for both Power BI and Tableau.
Awesome.
To Toby, and basically the question, the name of the guy I mentioned, so you can just, everybody can get a feel of it. Okay. Then Francis is asking, how is data cleaning in Tableau? Well, data cleaning in Tableau is the same data cleaning in Power BI, right? It's the same data set you feed into both of them. So the same process of data cleaning that you get your data to be in Power BI, it's just the same process you follow in Tableau. Do you understand? So it's not like a different formula to clean data. Data cleaning is data cleaning, right? So
is there like a tool like Power Query, right, that you can wrangle data? So what, like, if your data is extremely, is that like, I think there might be like a custom connector or something that you can at least use, or custom way to clean your data? Because
yes, you can create a new column. You can write a few MDX codes to create some measures. Just comparing to what is supposed to be in Power BI compared to how Power Query works, I think that is possible. That's basically it. You don't have like a dedicated to equivalent of Power Query in Tableau that, okay, I'm working on Power Query, I can do this. Or this option where you can actually create relationships. You don't have that option in Tableau.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So that data modeling stuff, you don't.
Interesting. Okay. Wow, this has been fantastic. Guys, any other question before we call it a day? Okay, I'm getting a message here. There's Tableau Prep, which can be used for data cleaning. Yes. I hope that's if that's a dedicated tool like Power Query. I don't hear much about it. Power Query just seems like a beast on its own. Anyway, that's for another day. Thanks a lot, guys, and have a fantastic day wherever you are.
All right, thank you so much, Ron. You sent some resources to. Okay. All right, so Toby, I'll just send you the list of these resources and then you can share with everyone.
Okay. All right.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Cheers.
Have
a wonderful day, Victor. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.